Hi, welcome to my first video. My name is Enya. I don't know if anyone's gonna be watching this, but if I'm able to help even just one person, I'll be happy. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about how much our perspective shifts when we listen to another person's story. For me, the most important story that has really impacted my life has been my grandmother. I call her Nana. Today I'm gonna be talking about her life and about how it changed my whole perspective on life. Imagine being 13 years old and being forced to raise 5 children on your own. 5 children that are not even yours. That was my grandmother's reality, and somehow she survived it with grace. This is gonna be sort of a story time, but towards the end I'm gonna be explaining what I learned and what I took from the story. My Nana was born on February of 1940. She was born and raised in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. She was the oldest child. She only had her mom because her dad didn't step up to take care of her. She was one of 6 children. Her 5 siblings had a different father, so she did have a stepfather. But unfortunately, he killed my grandmother's mom while she was expecting another child. That left all of her siblings as orphans because, of course, he abandoned them. My Nana's biological father heard about the news of her mom's passing, and he offered to take her in and take care of her. But only her. He didn't want to take care of my grandmother's siblings. They were too much of a responsibility, I imagine. My grandma refused to go with him because she felt kind of responsible for her siblings. She chose her siblings over herself, and after declining his offer, she never heard from her father again. That was the only time that she ever heard from him. But she wasn't gonna abandon her siblings while they didn't have parents. My Nana's grandpa took them in and they moved to Nayarit. But since my grandma was the oldest of the 6, she was handed the responsibility to take care of all of them on her own. They told her, "Those are your kids. You can take care of them." My Nana's grandpa, the one who took them in, he didn't want any of the siblings to study. He wanted them all to work from a very young age. But my grandmother fought with him to let them get an education. She funded their studies. This was before textbooks were made free for students in Mexico. She worked as a teacher to pay for their books. She taught children how to read, write, and even do simple math calculations. On the year that the free textbooks were made available, thanks to the president at the time, she left her house and she went off to live with her boyfriend. And they had a kid. That's my uncle. But the boyfriend didn't have his own place. He was living with his mom. And they did not treat my grandma nice at all. Eventually, after 5 years of mistreatment, she was fed up with the way that she was being treated in that home, and she moved all across the country to go find a better opportunity. She didn't go on her own. She took her son. She took her 2 sisters because someone in the family wanted to abuse them, and she wasn't gonna let that happen. And in addition to that, she was also pregnant with her 2nd child. In the new city where she moved, she worked cleaning houses, but eventually no one wanted to hire her because she was pregnant. After a little while of giving birth to her daughter, the daughter passed away. My grandma's neighbor gave her a small coffin so that she could bury her, but she didn't have dirt. She couldn't afford to get dirt to bury her child. And she also couldn't find a job. She went looking for a job at a restaurant, and she explained her situation to a woman who was around there. And that woman decided to go ask this man for help. He was a regular at the restaurant, and I don't know, for some reason they thought that he might be able to help. When he heard my grandma's story, I guess he was so touched by it that he really wanted to help her. He wanted to get my grandma's siblings food and also buy the dirt so that she could bury her child. That man ended up being my grandpa, and they got married, and they supported each other until the day that he passed away. That's a little recap of my grandma's life. She went through so much, and what I mentioned today is only a little part of it. Her whole life, she kept providing for her siblings, for her kids, and even her sister's kids, but we're not going to talk about that. She carried so much, but she never gave up. There were many times she thought she couldn't keep going, but she kept pushing and kept being strong for her children. She didn't want to leave her children alone on this earth. There was one time when I was in a really tough spot, and my mom told me, "You come from a family with very strong women. Your grandma's very strong, your aunt is very strong, and I am very strong. You think you can't handle what you're going through right now, but yes, you can. You can endure so much more." This story shows me that when you find meaning in life, something to live for, you will be able to endure anything. My grandma's story gives me motivation to go get the best life I can live. It's crazy to me how she worked that hard to survive, and so that she could provide the best for her family. When I feel lazy and unmotivated, I remind myself that it is so silly to sit around doing nothing beneficial when there is someone who had to work so hard just to survive. If my grandma managed to do that, I can manage to build a good life for myself. I don't have any of the obstacles that she did, so why wouldn't I go chase my dreams? I'm lucky enough not to have any of those obstacles, and that I have the freedom to chase the life that I want. My grandma, despite being a victim in life, she didn't let a victim mindset stop her from helping others and from building a solid life for herself. I have no excuse not to push forward when times are tough. Being grateful is so important. Despite not receiving the love that she needed throughout her life, my grandma still managed to learn what love is and to appreciate the good things in life. She's grateful for her kids and for her grandkids. And she loves and respects herself by being attentive to her health needs. She has always walked to stay active. She does little old people workouts at home. And for as long as I remember, she always eats the same breakfast. It's just yogurt, Greek yogurt with green apples in a bowl. Super healthy. I read a book that touched on the importance of receiving love when you're growing up, and I wanted to share an excerpt of it since it relates to the story. We lost something that is irretrievable. We lost the chance of going through life with the absolute knowledge that we are lovable. That was our birthright, and we were never given it. Now we have to work to achieve what some people were given just because they were born to different parents. Our parents were responsible for us when we were children, but no one is responsible for us when we are adults. If they weren't there the first time around, no one can take their place. Not a lover, not a best friend, not a teacher, not a therapist, not a support group, not anyone. Only you. You are the only one who can provide yourself with unconditional love, safety, and constant attention. Only you. My Nana had all the reasons to get angry at life and to neglect herself and her needs, but she loves herself and she wants me to do the same. To take care of myself, my image, my beauty, and my health, to be successful and independent. She'll say, love yourself, adore yourself. You, and only you need to love yourself. The most important person in your life is you. So I hope you guys remember how strong we as human beings can be. We are so resilient and able to overcome anything if we decide to do so. I hope you all appreciate yourselves for what you have overcame in the past. And thank you for letting me talk to you about my Nana Maria.